So GeForce Now doubles up in price. Could it be because of the anticipated death of Google Stadia? And speaking of dying, the iMac Pro has officially been discontinued by Apple, so it really wasn't just a HomePod. Welcome to the Tech Summit Podcast, episode number 37. And, well, there's just a lot more to come about for this episode. I am Francisco,
I'm Chris.
and Christopher is currently home.
Yes, unforeseen circumstances has possibly, not 100% confirmed, possibly reached my residence. And so for the next few episodes, we are going to be doing this a little bit remotely.
Yes, so do expect this very warm lighting for the next couple of episodes. However, if you were interested in the rest of our social media, you can actually go ahead and check that out at the bottom over here of the screen, and you can also check out the description. And if you're
And of
yes,
course, if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts, all of that social media will be in the respective descriptions.
we nailed it. So with that
Yes.
said,
I do
uh,
think you should, like, put some little thing in my chair. I don't know how you have the camera set up at the moment, but you should put, like, a little tombstone or a flower
oh,
over at my chair.
I actually just have that spot a bit empty right now. Like it's just very shadowy in that section. The only thing that's mostly visible is your microphone to represent your absence.
Put a flower on it or something.
Fine, fine. I
Like,
get
some sort of, like, effigy to me.
sure thing. I guess I'll just get like another Bob Ross calendar and maybe like put that there. Just have it hanging up and just being like, this is Christopher. But onto the stock scoop because we do have some stuff going on there. Isn't that right?
Ah, yes, that's right.
So
This is going to be one more installment of the Sock Scoop.
it's very satisfying to press that button. Now go ahead.
It is. Yes. Okay, so yesterday, oh, excuse me, Friday, yesterday, as of recording, but Friday the 19th was supposed to be, as we were calling it, Armageddon or Judgment Day, the day when the squeeze would finally happen, at least according to one particular deep dive
This
or due
is
diligence,
regarding
rather.
GameStop stock, by the way, guys. Like,
Yes, of course,
just
this
as a
is
heads up.
regarding GameStop stock.
Hmm.
It goes without saying, sorry. If there are new people, yes, this is the GameStop stock. Um, but yes, so it was supposed to pop off, go way into the stratosphere. That was the expectation. No, it didn't happen. Um,
So what
so
ended up happening?
on the whole, it lost $1.48 and then lost another $1.27 after hours. So the stock is currently exactly $199.
Oh, so basically nothing happened.
Absolutely. There was a point where it dived deep as low as 187, and there was a point where it started to spike up towards 223, and then it basically regulated itself back down to essentially close to where it opened. Again, in the end, it basically boils down to losing about 250 or so.
Honestly,
$2.50. That's the only real change that we had.
honestly, I think that this is going to be worth keeping a very close eye on because even though I kind of either expected nothing to happen on Judgment Day or for all of it to just come down crashing, so who knows if something might actually come from this maybe in the coming week or so because this has been a
Yeah.
topic of contention for a while.
Now, as I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I ended up being completely correct in that just a few days before uh, Judgment Day was supposed to happen, we already had due diligences from other people. Again, Christian apocalypse mathematics. The goalpost was shifted, and now people were saying mid-April.
Okay, so I guess
So
that the deadline has been pushed back.
yeah, so they were all just like, guys, the actual day is going to be somewhere in mid-April. And then, after that one, you also had a bunch of other people just being like, stop putting dates on it. The squeeze will happen whenever it happens. Which
I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
that is in fact the best way to go about it, but it's also really bad because a lot of people, and I'm going to be straight up with you, myself included, we are very antsy. for something to happen already.
I see.
Um, like I know a lot of people really want to stick it to the hedge funds and stuff like that. I will be completely honest with you right now. As much as I don't like hedge funds and I want them to fail too, um, I don't care about what happens to them right now. I want my money.
I think that's fair. Right
Give me
now,
my money.
yeah.
That's what I want. I want the squeeze to happen so I can just cash out and have my money and begin my life already.
Wow. Christopher, well, that is actually quite profound. We've never
I
had
am
a
being extremely deep. No, but seriously though,
yeah,
the
sure.
amount of money that come out of this is definitely money that can help me like get my own place. No need for roommates or anything like that. Just get my own place. Um, Start my own stuff. Be able to work on my craft without having to worry too much about things like rent and stuff like that. Um, I was almost in that position as it was the first time that it started going up, but as mentioned before, I diamond handed and held for too long and ended up not doing anything. And that was definitely a big mistake because I could have profited from that first big spike and then let it plummet down and then just put a little extra money in there and let that ride while still profiting the rest. I could have done that. I should have done that, but it is what it is.
Well, no one can really predict adequately what's going to end up happening to this at the end of the day. So, I mean, it's not really your
It
fault.
it's like it really is like a mutual friend said of ours. I'm pretty sure I said this also a couple episodes ago. My memory's a little fuzzy right now.
No
Um,
worries. I'm
you
pretty
are
sure everyone
gambling in a
gets it.
casino. You're never gonna know the actual stuff. Hindsight's 2020.
Exactly. So, with that said, that pretty much marks the end of the stock scoop there.
Yep.
And we're ready to move on to other topics because there are two very important topics. One actually more important than the other. And I would argue that the more important topic was actually brought up by Christopher here earlier when we were talking about what's been going on recently. And let's actually start with the least important one, though still pretty relevant to a lot of people. And this is because it has to do with NVIDIA.
Mm.
So there we got the NVIDIA shame corner, and essentially what this amounts to is that GeForce Now, yes, GeForce Now just doubled in price, and it went from $5 a month to $10 a month. And when I saw that this morning, even though this apparently happened like 2 days ago, but when I saw it this morning, I was like, oh no. Is this because of Stadia? Is it just because of everything that's been going on with them and because they're kind of expected to go down? However, I've actually looked at this article from the website PC Mag, I believe. Yes, PC Mag. This article is by Matthew Humphreys. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But essentially, it does cover the fact that now GeForce Now will be $10 a month. But if you were already paying for GeForce Now before this happened, then you will continue to only pay $5 per month until you cancel. And then when you try to get reinstated afterwards, then you would have to pay the 10. But if you were a founder's member to begin with, you don't really have to like spend more. This isn't going to be more expensive for you. Um, though what also comes with this is that there are supposed to be more improvements coming about. Actually, more notably that I'm noticing here is that there's going to be VSync support, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to appreciate that, particularly when it comes to screen tearing and things like that, which is more likely to happen if you're especially streaming a game, which, I mean, this is ideal for a service like this, even though I never actually experienced anything like that with GeForce Now, not shilling. But considering that this is the doubling, or dare I say the scalping of of an NVIDIA product, how do you feel?
um. hmm. Well, I mean, I don't really consider this scalping at all. I
I
don't.
I know, I
I do
know.
see this just as a standard price increase, which I mean, I made my opinion on cloud gaming services made multiple times now. Now, I still actually have to redeem my 1 year GeForce Now trial from my 3070. I've never actually redeemed it.
Oh, I see. So if you ever decide to stick with it after that year, you will be stuck having to pay the $10 a month.
I can imagine, which I don't see how I would continue to use. Honestly, I feel like it's something that I would pick up just because, hey, it's being offered to me, seeing how NVIDIA chose to withhold the actual games for people who spent on the bigger cards.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. That's right. There
Cards
were
that you
some
couldn't
games.
actually find.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that being a pretty hot topic earlier on last year. Oh man.
It was extremely annoying.
Like you,
So
yes.
now my thing is, okay, so GeForce Now, have they added any actual like new decent games
Well, in my
recently?
opinion, no, because you already know what kind of gamer I am. I'm more so like an RPG kind of guy, and I really wanted to see the
Yep.
Final Fantasy games being thrown on there. But the reason why these games aren't there is because Square Enix just said no and kind of pulled their own games out. So at the end of the day, it's not really Nvidia's fault, at least from my knowledge. But like to me, the interesting games are honestly just like some other games on the side that I've been interested in playing, like Darksiders 3 is on there. Vampire with a Y as well is on there. And maybe like a few more games like that, but not much on my end really.
And of
Honestly,
course,
yeah,
just so I can remember, um, for GeForce Now, you do in fact have to own the game yourself already before you can use it on the service, correct?
that is correct, yes.
Ugh.
So no,
That's the thing that really throws me off about it. It's like, is it really a net like a lot of people like to look at these things as like sort of Netflix of video games. It's not a Netflix of video games if you already have to own the game beforehand. It's more like a movies anywhere, you know?
yeah,
That sort of digital service where you have all your digital copies of the movies,
right.
but you bought those movies to redeem those digital copies,
Yeah,
you know?
so like it's as if like think of it this way. It's like you buy one copy of the game for your PS5, but it can also work on your Xbox if you happen to want to put it on there, and you also get a code to download it on your Switch and on your PC or something. Like something
Yeah, again, on Netflix. That's the thing.
yeah. Uh
It's not Netflix.
Exactly, exactly. Like you do still have to buy the game, which, mind you, like I don't have an issue with at all. I think that it is perfectly fine to like still have to buy the game, but I just like the idea of the fact that even if I do own it on Steam, I can still play it on my TV, for instance, with GeForce Now, on my phone with GeForce Now. Like I don't have to buy the game again, unlike how it would be with Stadia.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a positive. Like, it's better than Stadia. The problem is just that it's still not all that great, at least for me. Like, again, we've talked about this before. The value just does not seem to really work for me.
I
I'm
understand.
looking on
Like you're a lot
GeForce Now's
more,
website.
yeah. It,
Like, I'm looking on their website, and the one notable positive that I think they have is that Cyberpunk is now available on there. So, for a lot of people who don't have machines that can run the game properly, that could be
mm,
good.
yeah. I mean, well,
Like
Matt.
maybe they pre-ordered or bought the game assuming they'd be able to get one of the 30 GPUs, and then they never got it because,
Oh,
of
dude.
course.
Yeah,
And so it's like, I have this game and now I can't play it.
everything that happened. It was
But
just such a
then
tragedy. Yeah.
but then you're paying 10 extra dollars a month for the privilege of playing that game.
Woo.
Oh, dear.
I
I
mean,
don't like I said, I get a year of GeForce Now, and that might have some value to it, but yeah, there's absolutely no way I would be paying for it, even $5 a month, let alone 10.
you're also just a lot more of a Game Pass kind of guy.
I'm a penny pincher. I am a penny pincher
That's
who
fair.
values, like, the sort of cost per, like, product sort of ratio of, like, what does this service give me for the amount of money that I'm spending on it? And yeah, for $10 a month, Game Pass actually gives me other games.
Is it only $10? I thought it was 15 or something.
That's for Game Pass Ultimate, and
Oh,
that includes, like, Xbox Live and stuff like that.
got it, got it. I mean, in that
But
case,
like,
still, that's a great value.
but speaking for myself, yeah, I'm spending $10 a month for Game Pass on PC, and keep in mind, not to shill Game Pass. I swear to God, I'm not a Game Pass shill.
Yeah, okay. But
But
continue.
but uh, alongside adding all of the Bethesda games, well, almost all of the Bethesda games, they've also finally added EA Play.
Oh.
So
Oh, yeah, that's right. But, like, didn't
yes,
they do this quite a while back, actually?
they did it for console a while back, and they were supposed to do it for PC in December, and then they delayed it. Like at the very like literally the day before it was supposed to come out,
Wow.
they just suddenly been like, "Oops, no."
That's such a tease.
And then it took them 3 months to actually get around to it.
Wow.
Like we don't know what the heck was going on there, but in any case, EA Play is now there. And yes, I understand people like hear EA Play and think, "Oh wow, I get to play FIFA. I don't care about playing FIFA." Um, but you know, Star Wars Squadrons is there,
Yeah, yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order. You know,
I guess Battlefield as well, right? Like Battlefield 5.
Battlefield if people are into that. Yeah,
Yeah. And
Need for Speeds,
yeah.
Titanfall 2, as I mentioned before, the best single player shooter campaign in a long time.
you
Titanfall 2.
you do vouch for that game pretty heavily, don't you?
Titanfall 2 is basically just ET, but with a giant robot instead.
Right up your alley then.
Actually, no, not ET. Excuse me. That's the Bumblebee movie. Oh shoot. um,
Mixing things up here.
the Iron Giant.
I'm gonna give you a
I'm thinking
pass
the
again,
Iron
like because you're
Giant.
sick.
Huh?
I'm gonna give you a pass, like just because you're sick.
No, it's because I use the exact same kind of tagline thing when I'm talking about the Bumblebee movie. Because everyone, you know, because with the Bumblebee movie, everyone's like, "Oh, but it's Transformers." And then I gotta sit there and be like, "Yeah, but Michael Bay didn't do this one." And they're like,
Oh, fair.
"Oh."
Very transformative. Huh, get it? Where's that button?
Uh,
Damn, no. There we go.
it's
Yes.
always the cyan button.
Yeah. I'm not colorblind. I did
But
not
no,
just mistake
Titanfall
yellow
2
by
is more like the
cyan.
Iron Giant, I would think.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Or, you know, but more violent.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, obviously,
I
I mean,
mean,
it is Titanfall. we,
yeah.
we do have those
No, no,
expectations from it.
but yeah, Game Pass adds a lot of stuff. They added Near Automata recently.
Okay, well, that's actually a pretty big win. I want to
Not
give.
just that, but it's not just that. It's not just that they added Near Automata. Um, they also confirmed that it's actually a different version of the one that came out on Steam that was so broken.
Actually, I did hear about that, as a matter of
Like
fact.
this is a patched version of the game.
Yeah, it is apparently like a better version of the game, one that is a lot more stable than the Steam
Yes.
version. Which, when I saw that, I was like, "Huh, really?" And I have to buy Game Pass now, if I want to, but if I want this bug fixed, like that's just kind of
Well,
annoying.
aren't there mods existing for Nier?
Yeah, but I shouldn't have to mod it for it to be fixed. Well, that's not up
That's
to the modders.
completely true, but you know, it is what it is, I guess.
No,
They also added the
that.
Evil Within, and apparently the Evil Within is also patched up from the original release.
I guess.
And they're adding Octopath next week.
Oh, thank God. Like my levels of excitement have been fluctuating, as you can see, from like
Yeah, no.
game to game there.
I mean, I would say Game Pass has a pretty big variety of RPGs.
I am honestly interested in getting into Game Pass because, like, you do, and I will say this, you do shill for it every time that we have this conversation. Uh,
It's funny because I don't actually play too many games on there at the moment, but that's because I'm not playing that many games, period, outside of like 3 houses, I guess.
you're right. I mean, you're busy. I'm busy
I'm
too.
busy being I'm busy being hit with unforeseen circumstances.
at,
Possibly,
at
allegedly.
this time,
It's
right?
possible.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes, but
For we have 3 house people here, one of
three
which
houses.
was confirmed for unforeseen, and the other 2, including myself, have been deconfirmed multiple times now, but
It's better safe than sorry, of course.
correct.
Yes. So now, that's pretty much the scoop on the NVIDIA shame corner, though not so shameful corner. I did see that some people were actually pretty upset about this because like some people were saying, oh, so first, uh, uh the prices of their GPUs go up. Now, um, even though you can't get their GPUs, and they offered you a service that is pretty cheap, kind of to like help mitigate that issue for some people. Now they're raising that as well. So like some people are upset on that front, but like after closer
So
examination, I don't think it's that bad.
So my thing is, when they're saying about the prices of GPUs increasing, are they talking about NVIDIA's own price increases of like $100 or so, or are they just talking about the scalp prices?
Pretty
Because the
sure
scalp
that they're
prices
just
are
talking
not.
about the scalpers, and
Well, that's
that's not
not
really up
NVIDIA's
to
fault
them.
necessarily. I mean, NVIDIA is to blame for a lot of different things, like not manufacturing enough,
Yeah.
or more specifically, redirecting their focus onto the 1010 and the mining cards instead of focusing on the actual 30 series. But in the end, the actual scalper prices is not their fault specifically.
Yeah,
Like that is
like that's just
it is
mostly a result of rather than the cause.
yes.
Yeah.
But of course, I recognize we do have a time limit. I imagine we're getting a little high up there. So
No worries, no worries. We definitely do have enough time to talk about the next topic, but let me just close things off because that's always the
yes,
button for NVIDIA Shame Corner. And our next topic is actually going to be around something very, very upsetting to me as somebody that like saw this product and thought that it was really cool back when it came out, not that long ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it must have been, I think, sometime in 2018 or 2019 that the iMac Pro was released with, I believe it was somewhere between a 5K and 6K display. It wasn't 8K, that's for sure. But like it was a wonderful display, and not to mention that these iMacs had Xeon processors on there, i9s. They had a crap ton of RAM. Like these were workstation computers essentially,
yes,
and these.
and so go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I will take my turn
Oh,
here. no, no, it's cool. It's cool.
yes. No, because
So
we haven't actually discussed what actually happened here. So,
okay. Okay.
uh,
Yeah. Go ahead.
just before you continue nostalgia waxing on the
Nostalgia
product,
shilling. Go ahead.
let's actually talk about what happened here. So, according to MacRumors.com, in an article written specifically by Julie Clover, thank you. I hope that I'm also pronouncing that right. Maybe it's Clover. No, I'm pretty sure it's Clover. Uh,
You
the
you
iMac
probably got
Pro
this.
has been discontinued officially.
Yes. And
So,
if you've watched one of our episodes recently, you may already know that the HomePod has also been discontinued, and you may already know our thoughts around that. It just
yes,
seems kind of
Apple
odd.
is cleaning house.
Yeah, apparently so. But okay, like the HomePod, I can understand that. Sure, it probably didn't really sell all that well because it was a pretty expensive smart speaker with Siri on it. Even though it was apparently a very good speaker, the HomePod Mini is just like a much better alternative for the vast majority of people, and I'm sure that sold like hotcakes. I mean, I definitely bought one as soon as I heard about it. Um, so there's that. And then literally just shortly after, I find out that actually one of the coolest Apple products, in my opinion, to have come out in quite a while, the iMac Pro, gets discontinued before I even get to review it. It's so sad.
Yes. Um, so basically, what really actually happened is that it's being listed as officially discontinued because it is out of stock in the US and some other countries as of yesterday.
hmm
And the page has been removed entirely from Apple's website. It is no longer listed. There's no options to buy it in the US. Um, and all that stuff.
Right.
And any case, let's see here. Also, again, quoting from Mac Rumors, Apple has also changed the Mac compatibility filter for the iMac Pro to say 2017 instead of 2017 and later, making it clear that there will be no more iMac Pro models in the future.
That
So, so
sucks.
yes, it's not simply just that this model of the iMac Pro is discontinued. The iMac Pro line is done.
Huh. I wonder what
Now,
they're going to do with the iMacs, or are they just going
now,
to try to make those more powerful? Yes.
no, no. Now, Apple does recommend, again, according to Mac Rumors, I'm citing my sources as much as I can here. Apple does recommend that users who are looking for a high-end Mac choose the 27-inch iMac, um, which is configured with a 10-core Core i9 processor, which is faster and more affordable than the iMac Pro, which had a 10-core Xeon W.
Right.
So it does sound a little bit just like the iMac Pro was outdated and obsolete at this point, and that it just makes more sense to go with the cheaper iMac, which at this point has a faster processor.
A more recent one, I want to say. But then
No,
again,
for iMac, yeah, for the iMac, this is the 2020 model that they're talking about.
gotcha. Okay, so like
Like
there.
they're recommending the one that came in August.
Okay, so there's the 10 core i9. I'm assuming that they're still sticking with AMD GPUs on these, though I don't see anything
You
about
can
that on
check.
this article in particular. But yeah, like I mean, Macs for quite a while have actually been sticking to AMD GPUs. If you look at their MacBook Pros, if you look at their iMacs, um, as of late. But like once upon a time, they did all used to use NVIDIA GPUs instead. So now this is actually pretty
Now,
interesting. Yeah.
so it is worth noting, Mac Rumors also recommends at the current moment in time that while Apple is recommending that you buy that new iMac that was refreshed in 2020, Mac Rumors says don't do it because Apple is reportedly redesigning the iMac with Apple silicone chips and slimmer bezels for this year.
I literally just caught up to that part of the article as well. So
Yes.
there's going to be a Pro Display XDR style design, Apple Silicon chips. Oh boy, let's
Yes.
see how
So
that goes.
So it sounds like if you're really upset and particularly impatient about the iMac Pro and you needed something right away,
Right.
the recommendation is to go with last year's model of the iMac. But most people would probably recommend. I'm gonna say go on a limb and just assume as well that it is probably best to wait to see exactly what they're doing this year because it sounds like there is going to be a full on overhaul for the iMac, especially because they're just continuing the iMac Pro.
Don't know if
So
that's happening this year, but
no,
maybe early next
they're
year.
saying it's 2021 still.
Really? Huh.
Yes.
Huh.
It
Okay.
is going this year's iMac model is going to be the one that gets a facelift.
Interesting. So this is the time for a facelift. Okay. I mean, I'm definitely interested in seeing where this goes for sure. It's not that I thought that the bezels on the more recent iMacs were thick by any means, or at least like they were certainly tolerable. Like it's not terrible to look at by any means. But I suppose that I understand them wanting to modernize their design. I'm a bit concerned about the idea of it being based off of Apple's own silicon right now, just because while I mean they've been working pretty hard on like making sure that as many things as possible are compatible with Apple's own silicon. I just want to really see how this is going to fare with different workstation applications and just like how powerful are they planning on making this silicon as well? I have so many questions about that, and I very much look forward to seeing what Apple is going to end up releasing at the end of this
I'm
year.
curious too. I mean, I just I'm just curious to see exactly how Apple Silicon is going to work when it comes to support from like other applications and how it's going to stack up compared to the existing standards of AMD and Intel. Um,
Right.
it could work out really well, or it can turn out to be an abject failure that ends after a year or two. We have no idea.
A failure? I'm not
Has
entirely sure. Like, it has worked out very well in regards to Apple's lower end laptops right now, like the MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro. But, I mean, because they were implemented on the cheaper models, like, it leads me to think that maybe it's really not ready for prime time for something this big. But we could very well just be wrong here in this regard, or
I was
I
about to
could,
say
I guess.
this could very well be like the big like this is going to be the jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah. It
See if they can swim.
Yeah, yeah, let's see. Well, we're going to have to wait a little while until we know whether or
Quick
not they can
question.
swim. Yep.
Additionally, quick question because I mean I haven't bought an iPad yet. Still,
Oh, go
uh,
ahead.
so It does. Yeah, no, I still haven't. It does sound like when it comes to the iMacs, it does sound like around August-ish is when they seem to be putting out the new models, or at least announce them, stuff like that. When do they do so when it comes to the iPads?
iPads, they usually tend to vary. I don't think that there's necessarily a set time for those. There's always a set time for the iPhone, I would say. Like it's pretty much always
That's
in
around September, ain't
September.
it?
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to the iPads, like they get announced when they get announced usually.
Because I'm wondering, like, obviously, I'm taking a little bit of time now to actually like get an
Mhm.
iPad, and
We
I'm
are going to
wondering
be
if it.
seeing new models this year, though, supposedly.
No, I know we're seeing new models. I'm just trying to figure out when. Because, like, say for example, if the new models tend to come around July or August, and it's June, and I still haven't gotten one, then I'm going to wait. But if it turns out that it's not until like October, November, then maybe it's worth just picking up the current model. You know,
My guess is
at
that
that
it is
point.
going to be later on in the year, but that's really just a guess. I'm pretty sure that we are going to find out soon enough. My suggestion to you is probably to go with the iPad Air anyway, because it sounds like the refresh is really just coming to the iPad Pro.
Oh, the refresh, as in like the Apple silicone, or
Well, it is just going like the biggest upgrade is supposed to be a display upgrade where it's going to be using mini LED instead.
mm.
Yeah. It's not an OLED screen right now. It's just IPS. It's a fantastic IPS display, by the way. But yeah, like they are going to be transitioning to mini LED, and that's really what most of the hype has actually been behind.
I mean, that's very nice, but my focus has definitely been more on just processing power. Like if it turns out to be a big leap in processing power and that makes my work easier and faster to do,
Hmm.
then I would prefer to wait for those upgraded models to see just how, again, it's only if it's a super big leap. And if it turns out to not be a big leap, then, same thing, wait until around then and there'll be a sale on the current ones, as they try to like get rid of those models or something. Does
Well,
Apple do that often or no?
Well, I mean, it's either that the newer iPads are going to be more expensive, or they might just price it the same and then maybe just discontinue the other models and bring down the prices a bit on those. But
That's what I'm thinking is what's gonna happen. Like, I mean, if they drop down like $100, that's pretty good.
yeah, I, I guess so. However, I would argue that you wouldn't be gaining all that much from it. But if you're willing to spend the extra 100, like to get a Pro, you do still get some benefits to it.
Eh.
Yeah. Fair
No,
enough.
I'm leaning to no, I'm leaning towards the Air, no doubt.
Okay.
Like, the answer is the Air. I just wanna see if, like, if they do a 5th generation Air this year, I would like to see if there's, like, a significant increase in, like, processing power.
That's
If there's
unlikely.
not
Highly, highly
unlikely?
unlikely. Yeah. I really do not see an Air coming out this year, considering how recent the other one was.
Oh,
So,
is it not every single year?
no, 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 no.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. No. The iPhone does get
Okay, I figured as well
released
then.
every year, but when it comes to their iPads, usually not. Like, it's usually, I think, a waiting period of like 2 years. But
Okay.
again, like it just depends on how much time they need. But with that said, we have pretty much reached the end of the Tech Summit podcast. Thank you for asking that question,
Ah,
Christopher.
yes.
Yes, and with that being said now, thanks to all of you for stopping by episode 37. This has been a very interesting one. We're going to be having a couple
Yes,
more
very
episodes like
much.
this, just as a heads up, but we'll probably make that a reminder.
Of course,
They're
yes.
going to continue to be
Yeah.
remote for a little longer. And
And remember, nobody say those words. Nobody say the bad words. The monetizing words.
yeah, just
I got the
remember.
sniffles.
Exactly. I've got my censor button ready in case of anything. But with that said, social media is going to be right down here at the bottom of the screen. And if you're listening on other platforms instead, then do make sure to check out the description because the social media and all that stuff should be right there. And
Yes, of course. And stay tuned because we do have more news coming up very soon about some special things that we've been working on.
indeed, indeed. This has been Francisco,
And Chris.
and we will be seeing you all next time.
Good night. Travel well.
Quite, quite the delay. That's quite the delay between words. It's almost like I can't finish that rap. It's raining.